Good afternoon and welcome back to Let's Talk About It. My name is Melinda, your host, and I'm super excited for today's segment as we're celebrating National Nutrition Month here at Martha's Table at the Anacostia location. So be sure to stay till the end to learn how to make a roasted red potato and asparagus. Every year during the month of March, we focus our attention on making informed food choices and developing sound eating habits. This year's theme is Beyond the Table, which focuses on the farm to fork aspect of nutrition and sustainability. So we'll also be sharing information and resources from our programs that residents can use to learn about the importance between nutrition and health. To talk about food beyond the table, joining us today, we have Joanne Jolly, Division Chief of our Nutrition and Physical Fitness Bureau from DC Health. We also have Brianna Cleveland, Interim Director of Healthy Foods for Martha's Table. So before we get started, I'd like for our guests to introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about yourself and what drives your passion for the work that you do.
Okay, sure. Well, good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Joanne Jolly, and I serve as a Division Chief within DC Health's Nutrition and Physical Fitness Bureau. I would say that our bureau really focuses on implementing food access, nutrition education, and built environment interventions to make DC the healthiest city it can be. I would say public health nutrition has been a part of my life for my whole life. My family came to this country just before I was born, and WIC was actually one of the only services they could access at first. And so for those who don't know, WIC is a program that provides healthy food, nutrition education, and referrals to social services for women, infants, and children to the age of 5. I would say that WIC really gave me a healthy start in life, and it really gave my family a head start. And I think it shaped the way my family really thinks about food. I went on to become a registered dietitian and actually work as a WIC nutritionist, helping families like mine before coming to DC Health. And I am so humbled to be in this position where I can look at more of a population level approach to food access and nutrition education, really taking all of those experiences together.
That's amazing, and thank you for sharing that story as it comes full circle about being a program recipient and now being able to be a part and impactful in the program. Brianna?
Yes. Again, my name is Brianna Cleveland. Super excited for this opportunity. I'm currently serving as the Interim Director of Healthy Foods here at Martha's Table. Our mission is that we believe that every Washingtonian has the ability to thrive, and our programming and resources are structured such that that can be a possibility for our families. Specifically with our food programs, our goal is really to help shore the gap in food access and insecurity across Washington, D.C., and really develop programming and opportunities to help healthy eating behaviors and address some of the barriers that exist for our families in doing that. I'm personally really passionate about this work. I am from Washington, D.C. I'm a native of the DMV area. My family have been individuals who have just been engaged in the food and entertainment industry for quite some time. I am a mom. I have small children who all have had varying health challenges, and something that we learned in kind of navigating that with doctors and dietitians and therapists is that food truly is medicine, and really delving into the impact of a balanced diet, increased vegetables and kind of the fiber and omega-3s and antioxidants that really reside within the food, and the impact it has on, in some cases, not having to require medication or a series of medical visits. And so really have seen food transform my own family, and just really learning that to other families who are just kind of lacking the education or even access. Really personally excited to be here for this opportunity to highlight some fun ways to access healthy food.
Thank you so much for having us here today, but also for the personal story and the importance of food and nutrition. So I love what you said about food is medicine. So today we're going to be learning about the different programs that we have, as well as nutrition tips along the way as we prepare our 2 meals that we have for today. So without further ado, let's jump right in and talk about it. So my first question is for Joanne. As we mentioned earlier, this year's theme is Beyond the Table, which focuses on the farm to fork aspect of nutrition. So from food production and distribution to navigating grocery stores and farmers market. Can you tell us a little bit about what initiatives DC Health has that falls within this theme?
Sure. I really love this year's National Nutrition Month theme. When we say beyond the table, what we really mean is there's a whole lot more to food than just what's on your plate. Farm to fork or farm to table is sometimes called. It really centers you, the eater, in where your food comes from, how you store it, and how you use it. I would say one of the biggest aspects to farm to table really is thinking about food that has traveled the fewest miles to get to you. Not only is that a way to reduce your environmental impact, it's also a way to support your local food economy. DC Health Nutrition and Physical Fitness supports the Beyond the Table in several ways. I would say through our farmers markets, we provide nutrition incentives to residents to shop across all 8 wards. Our partner, DC Central Kitchen's Healthy Corner Stores program, works with local food hubs to source produce for purchase in areas of the city with limited access to full-service grocery stores. And I would say right here at Martha's Table, DC Health administers the local food purchasing agreement, which is a partnership between Martha's Table and Dreaming Out Loud to create sustainable ordering pathways for their graphic go markets, simultaneously building economic opportunities for local producers of color, which is a really exciting opportunity.
Wow, that's really amazing. Well, that brings me to my second question, which is for Brianna. In what ways do you think supporting local farmers markets impacts our community and health?
Absolutely. So kind of dovetailing off what Joanne explained about our partnership with some of our local farmers. So Dreaming Out Loud, right? One of their main farms is actually right here, walking distance from our location behind the Fort Stanton Rec Center. So when you think about, food access, many of our community members may not, and there are only 3 grocery stores in Southeast Washington. Think about, a parent, taking all of their children on public transportation to a grocery store and then purchasing, produce that can be really heavy and then traveling back to their home. It can be really cumbersome, which is something that, does it kind of hinder folks from choosing healthy eating habits. So when we think about kind of local produce like Dreaming Out Loud and our local farmers markets, one, it's close, you can walk, right? It also is a way to establish community, and community resilience. It's an opportunity to really connect with other people who are living in your neighborhood and engaging with food, and breaks those barriers as well. Another way is, again, it's really increasing that food access with the limited grocery stores in the area, and also encouraging sustainability for families. We chat here at Martha's Table also kind of try to promote gardening. We have a community garden where community members can actually have a plot here and access it during the times that we're open. And so really trying to encourage not only that kind of self-sustainability, but also just local economics as well. Purchasing local means that money is continuing to grow the district. So those are some of the ways.
Thank you so much. That's definitely a lot of information. And thank you for mentioning the food garden as well. That's another way of being able to get access to fresh produce, right? Well, that leads us to the next question, which is for Joanne. Can you tell us what does a well-balanced meal or plate look like?
It's a great question. I'll definitely start by saying a well-balanced meal can look different for everyone, right? It can be very different depending on your age, your health status, your cultural traditions, or even just your preferences. Our Bureau administers the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program Education, SNAP-Ed, which provides nutrition education and physical activity programs across the city for SNAP-eligible residents. We reach around 10,000 a year through education. And our SNAP-Ed education is really centered in the USDA's My Plate, which I love to talk about. So if we're thinking about the way back when we had the food pyramid, the food pyramid had the foods you should eat the most on the bottom, and then the foods you should eat the least on the top. It was not a very helpful tool, although it was a good try. My Plate is the new iteration of My Pyramid, where you can really look at your plate and kind of see visually what you should be eating. Okay. So if we think of a plate, not a platter, not a salad plate, your regular sized plate, about a quarter of your plate should be whole grains, if possible, brown rice, pasta. A little less than a quarter of your plate should be lean proteins like fish, chicken, tofu. And then half of your plate should really be fruits and vegetables. And if we're sticking to the theme of National Nutrition Month, eating what's in season or what's locally grown when possible.
Great, thank you. Well, now that we know a little bit about the importance of food and nutrition, what a nutritious plate looks like, where can folks go to find inspiration on how to create a healthy and nutritious meal based on their preference or diets?
Absolutely. So I think we're in a world of social media, right? Like most of our watch listeners are on YouTube now. Even just using those search windows in YouTube, in TikTok, and Pinterest, and saying like healthy foods is something that we always encourage people because it's something that you're already engaging in your day to day. At my table on our YouTube page, we actually have live cooking demonstrations of meals that can be prepared using the ingredients we have accessible in our markets. So we do have full access, no cost grocery markets at our locations here in Southeast Washington, D.C., as well as our Columbia Heights location. And then we also have our pop-up farmers market style joyful food markets at various schools across DCPS and rec centers in Southeast Washington, D.C. So a really great place to go to get those inspirations. Again, our YouTube page has all of our amazing staff walking step by step how to make really fun dishes. Also highly recommend, your YouTube, TikTok, kind of searching, healthy meal with asparagus and having all the things come up. And then personally, an app that I use is called Budget Bites, where you can download an app and kind of include some of the different ingredients and kind of scroll through fun ways to kind of find new things and even engage, your children. If you have youth or teenagers who are always on their phone, that's something you can say like, hey, why don't you look up something that looks like works with kids? So we can incorporate that in our meals. So those are just a couple of different ways you can find inspiration.
Those are very great tips, especially the incorporating family to be a part of the decision-making process in coming up with meals that everyone will enjoy. And can you tell us again what your handle is or your website is for either YouTube or your website?
Absolutely. So that's marthastable.org. And our YouTube page is Martha's Table as well.
Wonderful. Did you have anything that you want to add in terms of where to go to find inspiration for food items?
Sure. We have some great staff ed partners with resources. I would say Fresh Farms Food Prints website has some great recipes, as well as the YMCA of Metropolitan Washington has great recipes in English and Spanish.
That's great. Thank you. So, Brianna, how does Martha's Table support children and their families in learning about healthy foods and how to prepare these nutritious meals?
Absolutely. So we have a plethora of resources and programs here at Martha's Table. I know some folks really know us for our food, but we do have a lot of family support programs. So we have an early childhood education center at our Southeast location as well as our Northwest location, where our enrolled children's families have access to a lot of resources. One of them being healthy behavioral foods workshops, where we actually do have chefs come in, our staff here, as well as chefs from other programs, actually doing step-by-step demonstrations with those families and teaching them how to make those meals. In addition, at our farmers markets, we include recipe cards. So I have one here that will also include, but on the card, it actually lists the ingredients, the directions, and a QR code where you can go to learn more about healthy recipes, kind of a live demo of the respective card, and other resources as well. It's something that we give out to all of our guests and shoppers at our markets. We see roughly about and serve more than 2,000 families a week. And so having the cards, be able to go with them, you can take it home, engage their families with it, or kind of all of our team members who are on our foods team have actually cooking samples we give to community. One fun story that comes to mind is one of our colleagues was at a school site promoting one of the dishes we're going to make here today. And a middle schooler was like, "Oh, it looks weird. I don't really want what's a red potato?" And we incorporate really fun ways about that education. So our market leadership, it's like a French fry. That's what a red potato is. Okay. And they're like, okay, I'll try it. And he tried our dish we're going to make shortly. and just was completely blown away. He's like, oh my God, like I want more. What is this? How can I do this at home? And we were able to kind of show them. So the education kind of is very robust and well-rounded. And the biggest thing that we really try to do is really meet people where they are. You know, some and never assume. Some people have maybe never seen an asparagus before, or, you know, can try to incorporate the purchasing of it in their budget, you know, just given maybe just not knowing how to prepare it. So we really try to make healthy ingredients accessible, take the fear out of anything, and really try to make it relatable. So those are some of the ways that we do that.
That's amazing, and the wonderful story about the kids, because we know that, you know, a lot of the times our kids are picky eaters, or there are members in our family or friends that have allergies. So knowing how to incorporate different things and give us variety of foods, which brings me to the next question in terms of how can we encourage our friends or family to make healthier food choices, whether we're cooking at home, whether we're, you know, eating on the go or dining out. Can you give us some tips there?
Oh, sure. You know, I would say that regardless if you're cooking at home, eating on the go, or eating out, planning is key. I don't know if you've ever been to the grocery store when you're hungry.
Yes.
I am not myself. I do not stick to the plan. So creating a plan for what you're going to eat for the week, having snacks made ahead of time that you can grab so you don't have that moment to make a different decision. I say that the planning meals at home can get very monotonous, right? Like I might put the same thing every week and then I'll just, you know, get sick of it. So what we like to do in my house is have theme nights. For instance, Monday is always a delicious meatless dish for Meatless Monday.
Okay.
Wednesday, my husband's favorite is pasta night. And that kind of keeps the family getting excited and gives you some inspiration to find different recipes.
It sounds like a good way to also build traditions around that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm certainly guilty of going grocery shopping when I'm hungry, and then I have a lot of produce that I have available, and sometimes they go to waste. So do you have any tips on how to store fresh food items to extend their life?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I think we've all gone to the grocery store with fridge as our spinach wilted over the week in our fridge. A couple tips for you. There's definitely some, when you're thinking of like your higher priced food items like meat, sometimes we'll buy meat and it's more than we need.
Yeah.
So freezing meat options is great. It can stay in your freezer for up to a year. But I would definitely date it when you freeze it so that you know how old it is.
It's a great tip. Oftentimes we'll forget what we put in our freezer. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I'd also say temperatures are really key when it comes to food storage. I check my fridge every so often to make sure that the temperature is below 40 degrees.
Okay.
But between 36 and 38 degrees is really that sweet spot for storage.
Okay.
And then also, whenever possible, once you've kind of taken something out of the package and started to process it, this happens to me with onions. I always use half an onion. But popping it in a Tupperware or an airtight container where air and moisture can't get in will definitely extend the shelf life of that item.
Great. Thank you. Brianna, did you have any other tips to add?
Yes, I mean, in addition to all those like amazing things, one thing we share about your root vegetables, so like potatoes, sweet potatoes, storing them away from light. So even in a brown paper bag, the light is what, you know, kind of generates that photosynthesis. So that process, you know, that plants for to grow. And so if you're storing something in direct light, it literally might start to sprout, those little buds that come on potatoes. So storing them in a cool, dark place are something you can do to reduce to extend its shelf life. Another thing, I think to Joanne's point, when storing leafy greens such as kale, spinach, romaine lettuce, popping like a paper towel in the container so that it will absorb any moisture as it starts to develop. You know, with that moisture is what kind of leads to mold. So if you're putting something in to kind of absorb that moisture, you're able to extend the shelf life of your produce items in your refrigerator as well.
I've definitely tried that tip, and I have seen my spinach especially lasting a little bit longer, giving me more time to be able to use it. So the next question is similar to what we just asked, but can you tell us maybe what are more ways that we can reduce food waste at home or beyond?
Sure. So I think one of like key ways when you think about food waste, to the point, you know, really being intentional about what you're purchasing. I know at times, you know, we think about those big box stores like Costco, BJ's, like buy in bulk, it's cheaper. But when you think about it, you're not necessarily using a lot of things in bulk, particularly fresh produce items. So one tip is, really reducing and just shopping as you need it, as opposed to kind of in big bulk, to help one reduce storage and be really intentional about some of those meals. So if you know Meatless Monday is happening, you're not necessarily going to do your big bulk shopping of produce on Tuesday because it probably won't hold until Monday. So just being intentional about kind of what it is you're doing. Another thing to reduce that kind of food waste is really looking about what are some other ways we can incorporate those ingredients. And we're going to kind of do that a little bit shortly with our exercise. But, really thinking about that. And then if we are at a point where, food it has expired or there's excess, another cool family thing, especially with children, is composting. We can do composting at home. You can have there are many amazing websites, particularly on EPA's website, about home composting. It could be as simple as a shoebox and a little bit of dirt. So you can put your eggshells, any spinach that has expired or potatoes that have budded, and put that there. And you can use that as a depository for that food waste. And ultimately, again, bring that sustainability. It'll compost down in the soil, which can be used in your yard or even donated to your local farmer's market or local gardening farm.
Oh, that's a wonderful tip there about composting and things like that. Well, Joanne, you mentioned a little bit about SNAP and different nutrition programs that you have. Can you tell us a little bit more about any key services and initiatives that DC Health offers to promote nutrition health?
Sure. DC Health offers a wide number of services and initiatives around nutrition, food access, and education. This is on improving the food and physical activity environment by implementing programs, policies, systems, and environmental approaches. So what that really means is we're looking to change the environment to make it healthier for people, to promote, to be able to access healthy foods, to be able to be physically active. We do this in a number of ways. By